What a game of Champions League football between, on paper, two of the biggest clubs in the world, two of the best teams in the world. Again, emphasis on paper. But that was a terrific game for a neutral. I mean, the excitement, the end-to-end nature, the amount of chances both sides had, the last-minute heroics, the big players stepping up. That's a real Champions League game. But you know what? This game honestly went, for the most part, how I thought it would. Now, the build-up to this game kind of surrounded Madrid and City's form. And both sides this year, I mean, the fact that they're even in the playoffs for the success that they've had over the last few seasons in the Champions League is quite frankly ridiculous. Like, these are two teams that everyone every season expects to be going as far as the final. This is typically the teams that end up winning it. So the fact that they're both fighting in a playoff game is just kind of sums up the situations they're in. But City, obviously, we've talked about them so many times on this channel. So many injuries, but also I think the age to this team has really hampered them. And I think the level of so many players has really dropped off, taken a toll. We're going to talk about a few of them today because some of them are startlingly bad at this point in their career. So we kind of know what City are all about. Defensively, they're so fragile. They concede so many transitions. The midfield is completely vacant most of the time. And then you have Madrid. Now, Madrid have a lot of defensive issues. Like, their injury crisis defensively is nuts. Rudiger, who in previous games against Erling Haaland has been such an X factor. He is effectively the Haaland stopper. The guy follows him around like a shadow. He's been missing for a few weeks. He's expected to miss a lot of time out. Alaba came back from an injury, already out again. Militao suffering a second ACL. Carvajal out for the season. You look at the defense they put out today, and you're seeing Vazquez as well too. He's the makeshift backup right back, and even he's not fit. And today you're seeing the kid Raul Asensio again start at center back, Chouameni next to him, Ferland Mendy at left back, and Fede Valverde playing right back. So you got two midfielders in the back four. Madrid this season defensively have had real problems. And I think as well, too, the balance of the side, in my opinion, has been completely off all season. Now, there have been moments where Mbappe has really shined. There's been moments where he's struggled. The midfield, I don't think they've ever truly replaced Toni Kroos, even though, of all people, Dani Ceballos has really proven to be a top deputy. Like, he's actually come in, and today I thought he was really good. He concedes the penalty, but he's stepped up and actually done a role for Real Madrid. And I think Arsenal fans probably watched him tonight thinking, is this the same guy that was playing for us a few seasons ago? But I think he's been really good. But for the most part, Madrid have just, I think, what's the word? They've flattered to deceive. I think a lot of people looked at this season of Mbappe joining the champions of Europe and thought right off the bat it would be terror for every single team in Europe. And I just don't think it's been the case, especially in the big games this season. Their record before tonight has been poor. They've lost to Milan at home. They lost to Liverpool. They lost so many times to Barca. They just drew to Atletico Madrid. They've struggled this season, but going to this game as, I don't know, underwhelming as Madrid have been, I always kind of thought that, look, man, if they get clicking, I think they're going to run City off the park. And the scoreline might not suggest it, and especially the way they got it right at the death. They kind of suggest that this was a really close-fought game. And I'm not going to say City had no chance. City go up twice in this game, and they had their chances of their own, especially in the second half. The second part of the first half, I think they closed out the half well. But, man, how many times did Madrid go through against City today? I felt like they could have ripped them apart 20 times. And in fact, I think I read a stat that today it's like the most shots on target an opposition team has had away from home in the Champions League. Maybe I'm misreading the stat. I just read it on the fly. By the way, as you guys can see, it's not the typical situation here. We're not in London. We're not in New York. We're in Qatar right now. It's crazy. We're in Doha. We're here for the Match for Hope on Friday. I'll talk about that more towards the end of the video. But I was watching this at a cafe with all my friends and stuff like that. So granted, I didn't see all the specifics and I haven't seen every single stat from this game. But it felt like Madrid could have ripped apart City so many times today. And honestly, on a different day, if Kylian Mbappe's finishing boots are what we think Mbappe is capable of, and Vinicius' final action is just a little more consistent, and Jude had a big chance, and Fede had a big chance, and Ferland Mendy had a big chance. It was incredible how City stopped Madrid from scoring 3 or 4 in that first half. And you know what it is? This is what happens when the best transition team on the planet face arguably the worst team defensively at defending transitions. City concede transitions. They concede counterattacks for fun. They've done it all season. That midfield is vacant. The back four is tired. Ederson in goal is moving like, honestly, like a calamity. Seriously, every single game of Ederson now, you have the feeling that a mistake is coming. And then you're putting that up against Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo. Those four, when they get their legs stretched, when they start stretching their legs, when they start running on the break, when those boys start running, it's danger for most teams in Europe. and then you put them up against this City team. I'm sorry, I always felt this game was going to end one way. And to be honest, I'm actually more shocked that it was even as close as it was. Because on a different day, Madrid could have put 6, 7, or 8 past City. Now, that's not to say that Madrid were perfect this game. They absolutely were. And especially in the first half. Again, the first 15, 20 minutes, I actually thought they were going to run away with it. Like, the amount of chances they were getting going through on goal, I thought, wow, this is over. But City actually grabbed the opener here, and it came from Jack Grealish, who was a surprise inclusion. A lot of people kind of found that interesting because he hasn't been in great form for over a year now. But I thought he actually played a pretty good game before he had to come off injured. And I don't know what's up with Jack Grealish. Like, he came off, he even went straight down the tunnel. He looked really shaken up. I don't know what was wrong with him, but I thought his cameo was actually pretty good. And it wasn't his assist, excuse me. It was this nice lofted ball over the top to Gvardiol. And Gvardiol, right? I think there's 2 players today who deserve a lot of credit for City. Just 2. The rest of them, wow. Haaland and Gvardiol. And Gvardiol is just such a curious case, right? He's easily one of the weirdest players I've ever seen in my life because you look at him and you see like 6 foot plus, big, strong, athletic, Balkan, beard. Like, honestly, you look at him and you think, yeah, this is going to be an imposing center back. And at Leipzig, to be fair, that's what he was. But at City, he's been utilized as like this high-flying, inverting, outverting wing back that scores goals for fun, creates them. But the action for Haaland's opener is so intelligent for Gvardiol. Like, a player, again, of that mold, of that profile, having the intelligence in the opposition penalty box to not take a touch, not bring it down. I don't know. Most center backs or fullbacks, they get nosebleeds in those territories. He has the awareness and the calmness to almost just like just it down, just nudge it down to the path of Erling Haaland. And Haaland in that moment, there was a lot of, there was like a 4 or 5 minute VAR intervention just to see if he was offside. But you know what it is with Erling Haaland, right? I think this guy's been called offside in his Premier League career like a handful of times. His awareness and his sharpness at just like living on the last line. It's like eerily similar to Pippo Inzaghi, who is just like the ultimate, is he on, is he off, is he on, is he off? And you just look at the line and it's like, wow, he's just a centimeter, hair onside. And it's not a coincidence that he's always onside. His timing and his instincts are just remarkable. But those 2 for me were City's best players tonight, and I thought they combined very well for that opener. And like, again, it kind of came out of nothing, to be honest. But from that moment, I give City credit because I actually think for the second half of the first half, they kept possession. Well, they were always going to keep possession against Real Madrid. Real Madrid were always going to come into this game and play reactive off the counter, try and sit deep, soak up pressure, and attack them with transitions. City were always going to have the ball. I get that, but Madrid couldn't get it going for like 20 minutes in that first half, I personally think. And the second half, right, again, I might have to watch it back and see if there was a certain tactical adjustment by Ancelotti, who, as much criticism as he gets, and I give him a bit, I think for me personally, I think this team is ready for a new manager. I think they're ready for a new voice. And I think Ancelotti, look, he's a human, right? He's not going to win every single season. I think this is a team and a group of players that I think it's a step too far for him. I don't think he's capable of coaching these guys to the best level possible. I think it would be worth scouring the market and seeing if there's a better manager for this group. That's not taking away anything from his career. And I find it lazy sometimes when people say he has no tactics, because I feel like he manages in-game very, very well. Now, the setup and the system is all questionable. I can hear that. But in terms of in-game management, I think Ancelotti in these tactical chess match Champions League games is a master of making the right substitution at the right time and tweaking the game in a state that it just needs to be perfectly. I have to see what happened in the second half, because I felt going forward in the second half, it was all Madrid. It was just all Madrid. And again, Mbappe on a different day, I think would have scored a hat-trick today. Like, the amount of chances this guy got, and it was just a final touch. Vinicius wins man of the match. And we're going to talk about Vinicius, right? Because before the game, Manchester City unveiled like a tifo, a poster of Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or and kissing it. And it basically said, "Stop crying your hearts out." And it was basically a dig at Real Madrid and the fans and Vinicius. And City were posting pictures of Vini beforehand. And here's the thing. I'm someone who just made a video saying the game's going too woke. Banter is acceptable. Taking the piss out of players is acceptable. I maintain that. However, that's all cool, but you have to win. Let me just say that, right? Like, you have to win the game. Lewis Skelly doing that in a 5-1 win, especially after he talked his shit and stuff like that, Haaland talked his shit, I think, it's fair game. And I guess, right, like between Man City and Real Madrid fans, it is fair game in a way, because Real Madrid fans thought Vini was going to win it. They said Rodri had no chance. Rodri ended up winning it. Madrid boycotted the awards. It's like, I'll hold that. So in a way, it's funny, I get that, but I feel like doing that before a major Champions League game against one of the best players in the world, but not just one of the best players in the world, not even arguably, the most prolific, like the most effective knockout Champions League game player in the game for the last 4 or 5 years in Vinicius Jr. is almost like, really? Like, what else did you think was going to happen? You see this a lot in basketball, right? Where like someone in the stands or someone at courtside will start like mocking or like laughing at a player, and then the player just turns around and says, "Oh yeah, really? Okay, bet I'm gonna drop 40 on your head." Like, Kevin Hart did it to D-Wade a few years ago. D-Wade cooked the Sixers in the playoffs. The most famous one is probably Spike Lee with, what's his name, Reggie Miller. And Reggie Miller basically knocked the Knicks out of the playoffs. It happens a lot in basketball where like some dumb fan or whatever will try and rile up a player and take the piss out of him. But the thing is, the players have to be able to cash in the checks that the fans write. So if a player does it and then they dunk on it, fair, do your thing. But a fan doing that, I almost felt like he kind of set City up in a way. Because Vinicius, they showed him seeing the poster, being like, say no more. Vinicius wins man of the match tonight. I don't know if he was my man of the match. I think there were a lot of really good Real Madrid players. And I think Vinicius, as he usually is like a million-mile-an-hour player. Like, he's so positive, he's so direct, and he's so relentless. And you saw that for the third goal, which we're going to talk about. And he just, every time he gets the ball, he wants to go to goal. He wants to take on his man. And I personally love that. I love players like that, and it's why Vinicius is one of my favorite players in the world. But let's be real also, Vinicius is a very wasteful player. It's normal. No player is 100% with every action. You're going to lose it. And because he tries so many actions, he also has so many mistakes. Of course, it's just maths here. But I also think of Vinicius, right? Like, if he was just like a notch maybe more efficient with his actions, this guy, bro, would be the most unstoppable force ever. Because how many times he just gets himself in dangerous positions and just gives his fullback hell and goes to goal and takes attempts. He hit the bar in the first half. I think him and Mendy for the miss in the first half, they both should have done better. And I do think Vinicius did lose the ball quite a bit today. But that's the thing with Vinicius. It's the risk and reward. You live through the frustration of maybe 89 minutes of Vinicius because you know he is going to come up with that moment. In the Champions League knockouts in particular, it's like, what is it? Grass is green, sky is blue. Vinicius delivers in the Champions League knockouts. He did it all of last season. He's done it so many times over the last few years. I think I read the stat today that he's got more Champions League knockout assists than Lionel Messi in his entire career, which is just nuts. And it shows how brilliant he kind of is in this phase. But from a City perspective, I found it kind of weird. I can't lie. Not that, like, let Rodri cash in that check. I know Rodri's not that kind of guy to do that anyways. I don't think he is, personally. I don't think he'd go on the pitch and just kind of like, well, he's probably not going to score anyways, but he wouldn't like copy Vinicius or like mock him. I don't think Rodrigo would do that personally. But the fans doing it, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, your team has to win if you do something like that. And now, I just think they kind of look a little stupid, personally. But that's all the fun and games, man. The second half, I thought Madrid were excellent. Fede Valverde, I thought, played a hell of a game. Could have scored, should have assisted Jude. Jude missed a pretty big chance as well, too. I thought Fede, man, he just kind of, again, represents why he's one of my favorite players in the world, because he's so damn effective and he's so damn versatile. And does this guy ever drop below like a 7.5 out of 10? Is that even being like harsh? Maybe an 8 out of 10? I feel like he's just the picture-perfect figure of consistency. He's so defensively solid. He's so relentless up and down the wing. He's got a motor. He's the best ball striker in the world, bar none. In fact, he's one of the best shooters from distance I've ever seen, period. I think he's just a damn good player, man. Very, very complete. And then Jude, who ends up grabbing the winner. And you know what it is with Jude, right? Jude's a damn good player. Again, I feel like I'm repeating that a lot. He's a very, very good player. I don't think you can kind of question that. I always think with Jude, I think people kind of pretend like he's something he's not. Because he has so many attributes, because he's so physical, he's so dominant, he's very good. He has a very good touch. He's very good in tight pockets, has an eye for goal, can assist, likes to tackle. I think people just kind of box him in as like all-around midfielder. But when you watch Jude Bellingham, right? And I'm not trying to like box him in here because he can do other roles, but realistically, he's at his most effective kind of as like a roamer right behind the front three. When he can kind of just pick up those attacking positions and sneak into the box and finish chances off and like play the final pass, I think that's where Jude is untouchable. I think final third as a midfielder, Jude is just so sharp in those actions. But today, I didn't think he was that great. Especially in the first half. I thought in the first half he was absolutely non-existent. I don't think he got into the game whatsoever. And in the second half, he definitely picked it up. But it's just like there's these moments. I'm not even just talking about the goal, but there's just these moments that almost always seem to fall to him. And I always used to think with Cristiano Ronaldo, it was similar. Like, why is it that the big chances, the big moments, the moments to be a hero always fall to this guy? It never falls for until that 1 year. It never falls to Benzema. It never fell to, I don't know, Isco. It always falls to him. It always falls to him, bro. And it's like, it can't be a coincidence. If you're the guy in the final moments or in the big moments or in finals and semifinals that is always kind of stepping up and scoring a goal or creating a chance or being the hero every time, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that's a coincidence. You can't tell me that's luck. Like, you can't be lucky every single game. And Jude has this unbelievable knack of just finding a way to contribute in the biggest moments. Whether it was the goal today, whether it's like the pass in the Champions League final to Vinicius, like, it's just always him. It always is him. And again, I didn't think he was that great today. And I think when we talk about midfielders, there's guys I like for other reasons. Like I like Jude. I think Jude's in those conversations 100%. But like I like Pedri as well too. I think Pedri is unbelievable. And if you ask me, who would I rather have as like a midfielder that kind of plays more as a traditional midfielder, if you like, more controlling, more dictating the tempo with still really nice chance creation, brilliant way to pass. I do like Pedri, but in terms of who's the guy that just steps up every single time you need him, I'm sorry, bro. Love him or hate him, it's always him. Love him or hate him, it's always him. I think that's an unbelievable trait to have. And it's like, it is a trait. To be in the right place at the right time all the time is a trait. Lampard used to have it. Cristiano Ronaldo used to have it. Jude Bellingham has it. Like, it's inevitable, man. But as for City, right, it was coming. Seriously. We watch them every single week, and every single week it's the same thing. And sometimes they get bailed out by a Haaland moment of magic, or I don't know, just the other team isn't good enough. Like Leyton Orient, for example. But the issues still exist, man. And for a team that spent £200 million this January, I get Vitor Reis is not registered, and I get there's new kids that you don't want to just like throw into the first team right away. But damn, for me it was kind of an underwhelming selection from Pep. First of all, playing John Stones at DM, who is just cooked beyond belief. John Stones at his best was a brilliant center back and was incredibly technical, but is cooked. Seeing that back four of Akanji and Ake, I'm just like, I'm tired of seeing these guys. Like, I'm really tired of seeing them. Ederson. Wow. Ederson, right? I don't even know what to say about Ederson. I really don't know about what to say about Ederson. I've interviewed Ederson. I really enjoyed interviewing him. He's a fascinating listen. Very tapped in guy. And I'm not just saying this because I interviewed him, right? There was a point where Ederson was one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. Maybe not always shot stopping, but ball playing, exceptional. Coming out from the back, exceptional. And to be fair, the year they won the treble in particular, I think Ederson's shot stopping really went up a level. Like, that Champions League run, I thought he was huge for them. But wow. This season, forget about just the shot stopping. That's reverted back to type. But the decision making, coming off his line at the wrong moments consistently. His ball playing, I think, has dropped down a level. Yes, he'll have the odd one where he finds Haaland with like a laser pass that only he can find. But wow, he's gone down a massive level this season, Ederson. And at this point, in my opinion, again, I interviewed him. Great. I'm not going to like just change my opinion now for players that I interviewed just because it was work. I'm going to say it how it is. That's what my channel is about. He's a liability for City right now. There's not a question why Pep brings in Ortega from time to time. Ortega would not make that mistake at the end, in my opinion. I don't think he would. I think he maybe can't reach the heights that Ederson can when Ederson's at his best, but who's a safer pair of hands? At the moment, I find it hard to say it's not Ortega. That goal at the end, that Vinicius goes through on goal, which again, is just typical Vinicius. Loose ball, like 50-50. Anyone can win it. And he just puts everything at it, man. 90th minute of a game. It's the end of the game. These guys should be exhausted. The amount of times Vinicius just goes and sprints at his fullback, he should be exhausted at this point. And yet, he has the energy to go one more time against Rico Lewis, by the way, who came on 20 minutes earlier. Burn him. Win the 50-50 against Ruben Diaz. Blob the ball over Ederson. I'm not sure if it was a finish or if it was a shot or an intentional pass. Plays through Jude. And it's like, yeah, it's brilliant from Vinicius. And it's ultimately why he's the man of the match. But Ederson there, Rico Lewis there, Kovacic, I thought his cameo was horrible. Diaz didn't do great there either. I'm just looking at City. I'm like, yeah, this is who you guys are right now, man. And again, it's why I had Madrid winning this tie comfortably, because we're looking at City and we're thinking the Champions League. Could you get it done? Could you make it happen? And again, I'm going to bring it back to Man United 2013-14. And I don't even think it's like an outrageous thing to say anymore. Like, obviously, the big difference there is David Moyes compared to Pep Guardiola. But it was a team that the year before had finished first. They had gone through so many years of success, just like the City team. But physically and age-wise, they hit a wall, like massively, and they just couldn't get it done anymore. Rio, Vidic, Evra, Giggs, Van Persie, they all just hit a wall at the same time. And I'm looking at the City team, and it's the exact same way. But I remember that season, we were horrible in the league. I think we finished 6th or 7th. But in the Champions League, we just kept thinking to ourselves, maybe we can make a run. That Olympiacos game happened where we had the crazy comeback. We played Bayern. We led in the first leg, and then they equalized. And in the second leg, we got that away goal through Evra. And it's reminded me today of when City went up 2-1, when Haaland scores the penalty. And it's like, wow, we're horrible, but could we fluke a run in Europe? And then just like that, reality hits. For us, it was, I think, Robin scored and Mandzukic. And for them, it was Jude and Brahim Diaz, who comes back to haunt his old team. But this is just who City are. Final note as well, too. Kevin De Bruyne. Premier League great. One of the best I've ever seen in my life. Incredible player. Call it a day at City, bro. Call it a day at City. It's over for you, bro. Seriously, this is a game that De Bruyne used to dominate. Manchester City versus Real Madrid used to be Kevin De Bruyne's fixture. Seriously, this used to be his fixture. He sees Madrid on the calendar. He turns up. Bernabeu, Etihad, it don't matter. How many goals has he registered against this team? How many big moments has he registered against them? Today, you saw one of the greatest players of his generation bow out in terms of like physical dominance. He couldn't hang. He could not compete. And I feel for him because you look at the mileage he's registered on his body over the last few years. Again, the intensity that he played at as well too. The injuries he suffered as well. It's all kind of caught up to him. But City at this point shouldn't be relying on Kevin De Bruyne. They shouldn't be relying on Bernardo Silva, who is anonymous today. They shouldn't be relying on John Stones anymore. These guys should have been phased out a long time ago. Gundogan, and again, it just goes back to what I was saying. You reap what you sow. And this City game is just a reflection of their season, and it's a reflection of their team. Nothing we learned today from City is new. We did not learn anything new from them. We learned that defensively, they're a shambles. Mentality-wise as well, too, they crumble at the slightest sign of adversity. We saw it against Feyenoord in the Champions League. We saw it against Spurs in the league. We saw it against United. We almost saw it against Club Brugge. We saw it again tonight. The minute this team goes down a goal or gets pegged back or there's a mountain to kind of climb over, they can't do it. And it's crazy to me that a team that won 4 Premier Leagues in a row in the fashion that they did, last minute winners, final day wins, comebacks, have now become so frail mentality-wise. And I don't think you can question that. I don't typically like to go at players' mentalities because I don't know them, right? I like to just look at the game. But with this City team, it's undoubtable now. Just watch the players. Their heads sink every single time they go down a goal. Every time without fail, heads down. They don't believe they can come back. Proofs in the pudding as well, too. I think Madrid win in the second leg easily. I actually think it will be comfortable. And I think City's season is just rapidly petering out. Their hope for them, they have to make top 4. For me, this Champions League, the minute they could have played Madrid, I knew it was wraps. The Premier League is the priority here. They're in trouble. They are in massive, massive trouble. And they could very well make the top 4, but it's not a guarantee. And when you look at performances like tonight, that's the proof's in the pudding, man. Congratulations to Real Madrid. I thought they were the better team tonight. I thought they would have been hard done by if they had lost that game. And I think a win is a deserving result. And as for City, it's a long, long road ahead. I don't see a comeback. Congratulations to Erling Haaland, finally scoring against Real Madrid, by the way. I think, again, it also is helped by the fact that Rudiger wasn't literally following him like a shadow like he has the last 2 years. But Haaland continues to just score goals for fun. And I feel for him in games like this, to be honest with you, because especially against Raul Asensio. By the way, that's a very talented player. But Haaland would have looked at Asensio tonight as that's food for me. This is a matchup I can kind of expose. He's not going to defend me the same way, Rudiger did last year. Or 2 years ago as well, too. Feed me the ball. Get me in transition against this team. Get me in physical altercations with him. I can bully this kid. And again, it's another game where I just think City look up, see Erling Haaland, look back down, play it sideways. As a player, especially with Haaland's quality, that's got to be frustrating, man. That's got to be really, really frustrating. But we'll see how it goes in the second leg. I expect Madrid to go through. Let me know down in the comment section below. As I was saying as well, too, before I leave, I'm in Qatar right now with the SDS boys as well, too. I'm here in a hotel. Very, very nice hotel. I got a nice meal being ready to be ate after this as well, too. I'm here for the Match for Hope. If you guys saw the Match for Hope last year, this is one of the biggest charity games in the world where you see ex-players. Last year, there was Hazard, Drogba, David Villa, Makalele, Kaká, against some of the biggest influencers and YouTubers in the world, right? This year, it's gone up another level. This year, we have Thierry Henry, we have Del Piero, Pirlo, Iniesta, David Silva, Tim Cahill. It's going to be a huge, huge game. Last year, I was commentating on it. Maybe you guys didn't even know who I was a year ago. Who knows? It's been a crazy year for me, right? But last year, I commentated on that game for beIN Sports, and I was the lead commentator. If you went and watched the game, live streamed it on Chunks' YouTube channel or Abu Fullah's YouTube channel. Check in this Friday night on either of those 2 platforms or on beIN Sport, and who knows? You might hear another familiar voice again. No guarantee. I'm not going to tell you are, but I'm also not going to tell you you're not as well, too. Just keep an ear out, man. Honestly, you might hear a voice that you may hear waffle here and there on YouTube. I'm not guaranteeing anything. But hey, if you do, leave a comment, tweet it, say something, bro. Match for Hope on Friday. I'm going to be bringing you guys some content as well, too, on the day. I'm going to be making a match day vlog because I know you guys have been asking for that as well, too. With that being said, I got a warm meal being ready to be ate. I need to upload this video ASAP as well, too. I don't know what the internet uploading speed is here, but like, share, subscribe. Let me know your predictions for the second leg, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace.